Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Kudlow. I'm Larry Kudlow. So, day 9 of the Afghanistan catastrophe is here. And I want to lead with a quote from my favorite ambassador, that is Ryan Crocker, who we had on the show Friday evening, who knows more about Afghanistan and that entire region than anybody, alive or dead. Now, in an interview on Fox News just about an hour ago, Ambassador Crocker simply said, right now, there are no good options. Now, of course, he's saying that in the context of the Biden policy of immediate withdrawal at any cost, and then the various operational screw-ups along the way. But he did say that, and that shows a certain amount of pessimism, and that's too bad. There are good options if we think outside the box, but President Biden seems to have ruled them all out. For example, the U.S. doesn't have to operate by the Taliban timetable. Taliban is not yet in charge of the government. There's no recognition, and I don't care about August 31st. I do care about getting tens of thousands of Americans safely out of Afghanistan, however long that may take. And I also care a lot about loyal Afghan natives who have been helping us these many years. So if all that takes longer than the next 8 days, so be it. Who cares? Now, we are going to have General Jack Keane on the show in a little while, and we're going to run through a lot of the issues with us. But I'd like to know right at the start why the U.S. military isn't carving out clear pathways inside Kabul from shelter-in-place to the airport for Americans and our allies. What is up with this Taliban checkpoint stuff? Where are they taking passports and other documents from American citizens? Why is the U.S. government tolerating this? We are America. We do not kowtow to Taliban terrorists. Full stop. Why is Mr. Biden allowing this to continue? Look, if you need to put more troops in, then put them in. As far as America and its allies are concerned, the Taliban should be in charge of nothing. Nada. No checkpoints, no airport, no nothing. They are not our friends. They are terrorists. I mean, we went there in the first place 20 years ago to clear out al-Qaeda terrorists who bombed us on 9/11, and we found out that the Taliban terrorists, Sunnis, were not only protecting al-Qaeda, but they were themselves participating in terrorist planning and actions. And from everything I see, and this is so bad, from everything I see, from President Biden right on down, I see nothing that suggests to me that this administration truly understands the urgency and the immediacy and the importance of dealing with terrorism in Afghanistan. It's all about terrorism. National Security Director Sullivan said today there is no al-Qaeda threat capability. Really? How do you know that? The president said the other day there's no al-Qaeda threat at all. Of course there is. And the Taliban are giving them a safe haven. And then, of course, the administration has advised Americans that the airport is not safe because ISIS might blow it up. ISIS? But I thought there were no terrorists in Afghanistan. So this is why we should be taking much stronger, far stronger actions. General Keane told me on radio this weekend that we are fighting for American honor. That's an awfully good way to put it. Right now, we're doing a darn poor job of it, if you ask me. I mean, the more I look at this, the more I think Ambassador Ryan Crocker was right in his brilliant New York Times article this weekend. Better to have left the status quo alone. There were a couple thousand U.S. troops, basically no fatalities in the last year or two. You had a certain power sharing in the government. The Taliban and the terrorists were at bay. They'd go back into the mountains during the bad winter. I know the government wasn't devoid of corruption. I get that. I'm not into nation building. What I'm saying is the status quo ante stopped terrorism. And Afghanistan was not a terrorist haven the way it is now. Sometimes better to leave well enough alone, I guess. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. The more I look at this, the more I think status quo is a better idea than immediate withdrawal. American honor is at stake. We must never, ever be a pitiful, helpless giant. We have already given Russia and China way too much running room. We've let down our Afghan allies. We've let down our NATO friends. And Lord knows what's going to happen in Taiwan and elsewhere around the world. We need a strong response right now, even if it means changing plans. Unfortunately, we're getting a weak response. As I've said before, it is far better to be feared than loved, especially loved by the Taliban terrorists and their ilk. The trouble with Biden now, he is neither feared nor loved. That's a very bad place for him and for America to be.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.